In today's video, I wanted to just create a super easy to follow, beginner-friendly video on how to write dispute letters. You know how we do it over here at Young Elder TV? You're about to get this work. The credit bureaus want you to fail. They use so many unfair practices to reject your letters and slow the process, but you got to be ready to fight back. Credit bureaus, also known as credit reporting agencies or consumer reporting agencies, are companies that collect and store information about your credit history, which lenders use to assess your credit worthiness. The three major credit bureaus in the United States are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. That's why today I'm sharing my secret ways to make your dispute letters more effective, so you can keep changing lives. Over 20,000 people are asking this one specific question: how to create the perfect dispute letter. And you know me, I don't want that question to go on unanswered. A dispute letter is a formal written communication sent to a company, usually a credit bureau or debt collector, to formally challenge the accuracy of information on a credit report or a debt, stating that you believe there is an error and requesting that the information be corrected or removed. Essentially, it's a way to notify them that you disagree with a certain charge or information listed on your account and want them to investigate further. I'm just really making this video just to show you how easy it is to create a dispute letter without adding all those extra laws and all those things up in there. It's really simple. This video is really getting you started, so you better stick around. My name is Ted Strokes, and welcome to Credit Repair Business Secrets on the Young Elder Show. In the 20 years since releasing my first class on disputes, just words aren't enough to win disputes. You need to attack them with paperwork. This system is based on contracts, therefore they operate with paperwork. In agency law, the principle of notice to agent is notice to principal means that knowledge or notice received by an agent acting within the scope of their authority is imputed to the principal, binding them as well. Here's a more detailed explanation. Imputation of knowledge. When an agent receives information or notice related to their agency duties, that knowledge is considered to be the principal's knowledge, even if the principal wasn't directly informed. Scope of authority. This principle applies only when the agent is acting within the scope of their authority or agency duties. Constructive notice. The agent's knowledge or notice is considered constructive notice to the principal, meaning the principal is deemed to have knowledge of the information, even if they didn't directly receive it. Adverse interest or action. Unless the notifier knows the agent has an adverse interest to the principal, a notification given to an agent is considered notice to the principal. Examples. If an agent is hired to negotiate a contract and they receive notice of a material fact about the contract, the principal is bound by that notice, even if the principal wasn't directly informed. If an agent is hired to buy property and they receive notice of a defect in the property, the principal is bound by that notice, even if the principal wasn't directly informed. Notice to agent is notice to principal in the following circumstances. The agent must have actual knowledge of a fact. The agent must have obtained the knowledge during tenure of agency. The agent must have been appointed for a particular transaction or business. A 609 letter, or a letter invoking Section 609 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, is a formal request to a credit bureau for information about the sources of data on your credit report, enabling you to identify and potentially dispute inaccurate or incomplete information. Here's a more detailed explanation. What it is. A 609 letter is a formal written request to a credit bureau invoking your rights under Section 609 of the FCRA. Purpose. It allows you to obtain information about the sources of data on your credit report, which can help you identify potentially inaccurate or incomplete information. How it works. You write a letter to the credit bureau, requesting information about the sources of data on your credit report. The credit bureau is obligated to respond to your request within a certain time frame, typically 30-45 days. You can then use this information to identify any inaccuracies or incompleteness and potentially dispute the items. Dispute versus 609 letter. While 609 letters are often used in conjunction with disputes, it's important to note that the actual right to dispute inaccurate information is found in Section 611 of the FCRA. What to include in a 609 letter? Your personal information, full name, address, etc. The credit bureau's contact information, a clear subject line stating the purpose of your letter, for example, request for investigation of inaccurate credit information. A brief introduction explaining the purpose of your letter and your rights under Section 609. A list of the specific items you are disputing, including the account name, creditor, lender, and any specific information you are disputing. Any supporting documentation you have. A request for the credit bureau to investigate and correct the inaccuracies. Your contact information for any follow-up. A closing and typed-out signature. Why it matters. Inaccurate information on your credit report can negatively impact your credit score, making it difficult to get loans, rent a home, or sign up for services. Note: submitting a 609 letter doesn't automatically remove items from your credit report, but it can help you gather the information you need to dispute inaccuracies and potentially have them removed. Right, now you're looking at your personal information update letter. You want to date your letter, put your name, updated address, and address of the credit bureau. Whichever credit bureau you're writing to. You want to re-update personal information, and literally, guys, it's this simple. The following names are intact or incorrect. Please delete the following. List the incorrect names. The following addresses are incorrect. Please delete. The following phone numbers are incorrect. Please delete. You basically just list it. Just like in the order that they have it on your personal information, list it in that exact order, and make sure that you highlight the errors that you're wanting them to delete. And then at the bottom, please send me an updated copy of my credit report reflecting the above changes. Thanks. Then type or print your name. Never sign your letters. That is key. I don't know if it's completely 100% true, but it's been said that there are some companies out there that could potentially try to, forge your signature or copy your signature onto a contract to verify your debt, like when you send in debt validation letters. Forging a signature means unlawfully imitating or creating a fake version of someone else's signature with the intent to deceive or defraud. Forging a signature is the act of creating a false signature that looks like someone else's without their permission or authorization. The purpose is often to commit fraud, such as signing someone else's name on a check, contract, or other legal document to gain an unfair advantage. To protect yourself from signature forgery, you can take measures such as using secure electronic signature platforms and being cautious about who has access to your documents. A validation letter, particularly in the context of debt collection, is a document a debt collector is legally required to send to a consumer, providing information about the debt and allowing the consumer time to dispute it. I've personally never had it happen, but I've also never signed my letters. I really think that would take a lot of guts and balls for a company to do that and rip you off. But this is a dog-eat-dog type of world we live in today. To write a compelling dispute letter, clearly state your issue, provide factual details and supporting documents, and request the desired action, correction, or removal. Here's a breakdown of how to write a dispute letter. 1. Identify the purpose and audience. Purpose. Clearly state the reason for your letter. You are disputing information on a credit report, a debt, a charge, etc. Audience. Identify who you are addressing. For example, a credit bureau, a debt collector, a business. 2. Include essential information. Your contact information. Provide your full name, address, phone number, and email address. Account information. If applicable, include the account number or any relevant identifiers. Date. Include the current date. Credit report confirmation number if applicable. If you have a confirmation number for your credit report, include it. 3. Clearly state the dispute. Identify the items disputed. Specify the exact items you are disputing. For example, a specific credit account, a debt, a charge. Explain why you dispute it. Provide a clear and concise explanation of why you believe the information is inaccurate or incorrect. Be factual and avoid emotional language. Include factual details. Provide specific details to support your claim, such as dates, amounts, and any other relevant information. Request action. Clearly state what you want the recipient to do. For example, remove the item, correct the information, investigate the matter. 4. Supporting documentation. Attach copies, not originals. Include copies of any documents that support your claim, for example, credit card statements, receipts, payment records, police reports. Keep originals. Retain the original documents for your records. 5. Closing and mailing. Request a response. Politely request a response within a reasonable time frame, for example, 30 days as mandated by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Send via certified mail. Consider sending your letter via certified mail with a return receipt requested to ensure proof of delivery. Keep a copy. Make a copy of the letter and any attachments for your records. Example: your name, your address, your phone number, your email and date. Then the recipient name, company, and recipient address. Subject: dispute of information on credit report. Dear recipient name, title: I am writing to dispute the following information on my credit report. Specific item, for example, a credit account with creditor name and account number, account number. I believe this information is inaccurate because explain why. For example, I never opened an account with creditor name and I have no record of this debt. Enclosed are copies of list any supporting documents, for example, my credit card statements, a police report that support my claim. I request that you investigate this matter and take the necessary steps to remove or correct the disputed information. Please respond to this letter within 30 days. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Sincerely, your name. You're always going to date and address all of your letters. You don't necessarily have to put a subject line. You don't have to do that, but I just do it anyway, just to let them know. Hey, this is the reason why I'm writing to you in the first place. So please remove the following unauthorized inquiries. Unauthorized credit inquiries are credit checks or hard pulls on your credit report that you did not authorize or were not aware of, potentially due to identity theft or clerical errors, and should be addressed immediately to protect your credit. Unauthorized hard inquiries are credit checks that appear on your credit report, but you did not apply for the credit or authorize the inquiry. They can occur due to identity theft, clerical errors, or an unscrupulous lender performing a hard inquiry without your permission. Why they're important? Unauthorized inquiries can negatively impact your credit score and potentially lead to identity theft or other financial fraud. On unauthorized inquiries, how many you list is completely up to you. I always say list anywhere from 5 to 6, but if you have 10, list all 10 inquiries. Just make sure those inquiries are not tied to an open account. That's key. Don't forget, and I repeat, make sure these inquiries are not tied to an open account. Say to them, please send me an updated copy of my credit report reflecting the above changes, thanks. Then put your name. You can also call the credit bureaus to have unauthorized inquiries removed. You want to call them, but already have the list of inquiries. So that would be the name of the company and the month and year for the inquiry, and that would be listed on your credit report. To remove unauthorized inquiries from your credit report, dispute them with the credit bureaus, contact the lender, and optionally place a fraud alert or freeze your credit. So, you would just tell them, hey, company XYZ in October 2023, or the Sambo company in December 2020, just like that, and let them know I didn't authorize these inquiries, please remove them. That's all you have to do with that part. You can call to get personal information updated as well. You can even read it, but don't call them talking about the following names are incorrect. Just say, I have some information that I would like to remove that is not accurate. If your credit scores are bad, or not as strong as you'd like them to be, you may be researching ways to try to boost them. An internet search will likely turn up lots of advice about how to write credit repair letters to help you improve your credit. But do they really work? Credit repair letters are designed to take advantage of a provision under federal law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, that allows consumers to dispute items on their credit reports that they believe are inaccurate or incomplete. The credit reporting agency that receives one of these letters generally must investigate and respond within 30 days. If the disputed information can't be verified with the source that reported it to the credit bureau in the first place, it must be removed. Alternatively, information that is verified but not accurate or complete can be updated by a creditor to satisfy the FCRA investigation requirements. Consumers who find mistakes on their credit reports should, by all means, request an investigation. It's fastest and easiest to file a dispute online, but some consumers prefer to mail a dispute letter. It creates a paper trail, and it may allow more flexibility to describe the problem if your dispute does not fall into the categories available with an online dispute. In addition, some consumer attorneys recommend that avenue to ensure consumers protect their right to sue if the information is not corrected. But consumers are often also instructed by some websites and some credit repair organizations to dispute negative information even if it's accurate. The hope is that the credit bureau will fail to respond in a timely manner and the information will have to be removed. This is a very popular tactic, and there are companies that charge hundreds or thousands of dollars to help write and send credit repair letters. Keep in mind that knowingly disputing accurate information violates the Credit Repair Organizations Act. A few years ago, I visited the mailroom at one of the 3 major credit bureaus. There I saw stacks and stacks of dispute letters waiting to be processed. Many of these letters carried the same return address or used the same font on the envelope, making it pretty obvious that they were coming from some type of credit repair service. Credit bureaus are very efficient at handling the disputes they receive. The process is often highly automated, and in fact, many disputes are investigated and resolved one way or the other within a couple of weeks. Is it possible that some disputes will fall through the cracks or that the company furnishing the information to the credit bureaus won't respond? Of course it is. But because the large majority of information on credit reports comes from major financial institutions, it's more likely that the credit bureau will get a response from the furnisher. And if the information is correct, it will continue to be reported. So, if you are looking for a surefire strategy to remove accurate but negative information from your credit reports, you should know it's something of a gamble. If you find negative information that is inaccurate or incomplete on your credit reports, or information that doesn't belong to you, you can and should dispute it. If you decide to do that by sending a letter, here are a few tips. Be sure to include your full contact information, including your address and your social security number. You need to include a copy of a government-issued ID and a copy of a bill with your current address on it. Phone bills or utility bills work best. The credit reporting agency needs to be able to correctly identify information in your credit report. Keep your dispute short, specific, and to the point, if at all possible. Someone is going to have to enter your dispute into the credit bureau's computerized system. Don't make them guess what you're trying to dispute. Include any information or evidence to support your dispute, if available. For example, you could include a copy of a canceled check that shows you paid on time. You don't have to quote federal laws because the credit reporting agencies know their responsibilities when it comes to investigating disputes. But it is essential that you clearly explain clearly and concisely what you are disputing and why. For example, don't just say information is wrong. State why you believe it's wrong. Keep in mind the FCRA applies to consumer credit reports but not to business credit reports. You can and should dispute incorrect or incomplete items on your business credit reports, but there's no requirement that the item be removed if the credit bureau doesn't respond within 30 days. There's nothing a credit repair company can do for you that you can't do on your own for free. However, some consumers find themselves overwhelmed or too busy to deal with problems on their credit reports. That's especially true for small business owners who need to maintain strong credit but often find themselves putting out a million other fires in their business. If you find yourself procrastinating, you may want to find an affordable credit repair solution to help you cross this item off your to-do list. If you do use a credit repair service, make sure you pay for work that is done and not prior to any services being performed.